Okay, good morning, everybody. It's J2O, keeping it real for his king. Back here for another podcast episode. In this episode, got special guests. I got Miss Asia Richardson. Thanks for being able to reach out for this interview on short notice.
All good.
And I'd like to start things off. Can you let us know about your background? Um, a little more information about you for others so they can
Yeah.
know.
So like you said, my name's Asia. I'm from Virginia. I went to Howard University. I studied
Nice.
finance, so I got my bachelor's in finance. And then I joined the military right after college. So I commissioned into the Army, active duty. I was an artillery officer, and then I was an intelligence officer. I was in for
Wow.
6 years. I made captain, and then I got out. Um, and I just moved to LA in February of this year, 4 weeks before COVID took over the world. So now I am in LA pursuing acting, and I do photography, and I also do financial coaching, just because it's a passion of mine to help people with their personal finances. So yeah, that's it about me. Oh, and I have a dog. I have a dog. Her name is Nike.
Okay. So about the military, what inspired you to serve in the military?
What inspired me to what?
Serve in the military.
Well, I had a free ride to college. And then, so yeah, no, free education. So leaving college without any student loans. And then, I don't know, there was a point in my junior year where I decided to go active instead of just going reserve. Um, and the leadership, caring about people. I found this part of me that just really, really, really wanted to be a part of that sort of team. And so, yeah, I'd say definitely being able to lead people, and just having an adventure, right? Like
Yeah.
doing something just that you didn't think that you could do. And you're like, oh, now I have these dope stories about it. So yeah, I think it was a little bit of an adventure as well that attracted me to the military.
That's interesting. And then you mentioned you doing acting too as well. That's good.
Yeah.
What
hmm
made you want to get into acting as well?
So I've always been a performer. As a kid, I grew up in theater, whether it was dance or whether it was actual drama, like performing um, plays and stuff. I've always loved it. I just never, when I was younger, I was more straight and narrow. I did not think that having an artistic lifestyle was something feasible. So I was like, I need a stable sort of path. So fine, I studied business in college for what? Like, not to say it was a bad idea. It's just I
Yeah.
was so strict on myself about what my life was going to look like, and I did not think that pursuing anything in the artistic realm that I love doing would just be a hobby. It would never be something that I would do for work. So then I hit a point in my military career when I was like, okay, I'm tired. My body is broken. I think I wanna try something else. I wanna chase something that I've been passionate about and see how it pans out. And say fuck it and not be afraid to like do things. So yeah, I found the courage, and people think it's weird that you found courage like to leave the military, and it was like, no, yeah, I found the courage to do something outside of my own personal comfort zone, something that's not necessarily stable, but it feeds my soul, if you will. So yeah,
I see. Yeah, for undergrad, I went Morgan State University. I majored in accounting. It's a safe degree.
go
You
there.
you can't go wrong getting an accounting degree. And I know when I was in school, you had people who had finance majors. They were seemed like they were cool people because accounting's not the funnest topics. And
Accounting majors were y'all. At least at Howard, it was like the accounting majors were the nerdiest of nerds in the school of B. Like the School of Business was already like the nerds on campus. And then the accounting majors were just extra. It was like, why are you studying that? FIFO and LIFO?
Yeah. So I got that like right. And then when I did finish school, I actually like became accountant. But it wasn't cool telling people you're accountant and stuff. Like, yo, I'm accountant. Like, it's not like sexy. It's not anything. Like, people know you're accountant. But it's a respectable, degree. Especially like when I did go to like grad school, get my master's in accounting, and that's even more accounting. But I got a master's in accounting, and I met people that were finance majors like years later coming back to like school to like get like a safe degree because accounting is like jobs. And I guess during like the whole recession, people lost jobs that had like certain like majors like finance. It was hard for them to find like jobs and stuff, but accounting, you're always straight. So that's what was like a good thing to have accounting because it's like broad and it's like
Oh,
safe.
everybody needs an accountant, whether it's a small business, a huge corporation, or whatever. Like personal project, people always hire accountants. Always, they need them so bad.
Yeah, and you can like do so much with accounting in general, whether you want to become like an auditor or tax. Like it's like a broad, like safe major, I would say. And it's definitely in this economy time where people are losing jobs. So having a job that makes you kind of seem essential, like a accounting major, you should be straight.
Yeah, kind of essential. Yeah.
Yeah. So like for like 2020, this has been like a crazy year, especially because of like COVID and I guess just like so many crazy things happened this year. So for 2020, what we said are your like financial fears for like 2020?
So for me personally, I've switched careers completely, right? So
Yeah.
my financial fear is really more so about getting used to not having that guaranteed government paycheck every month.
Yeah.
Um, that's my concern. It's just making sure I'm staying on top of the things that I need to do uh, to bring in the same amount of money that I was bringing in, because you get used to living a certain way.
Yeah.
So just adjusting to that. Um, but also, I mean, that's not as scary as I might make it sound. It's just like adjusting to a whole different lifestyle. And then I guess with COVID and everything in the economy is in flux right now. I know some people are worried about like the stock market and the housing market and things like that. I just tell myself like the economy is going to ebb and flow anyways. No, I don't want to lose a bunch of money. But I also don't plan on pulling any of my investments just because out of fear. So yeah, I do think about that though. I own a house in Colorado and like, how's that housing market doing? People are, Colorado's having a lot of fires and things like that. And so yeah, that stresses me out, but I'm not going to sell my house just,
Yeah.
off a whim. And then the same with the stock market. It's the same way. Or if you have it, like even when I look at my retirement fund and just think about, okay, like as the market goes down, will I start losing money in my TSP? And yeah, I don't know. I just tell myself like that's the way the economy rolls. It ebbs and flows. It's up and down all the time. So I try not to worry too much about it. I don't make any moves off of fear. So if I do catch myself doing something that I'm doing because I'm scared, I'm just like, oh nope, leave it alone, don't touch it. So
Yeah. Yeah. But for like the stock market, I feel more sorry for like the older people that are like trying to retire within like next like year or within less than 5 years
oh
because
yeah,
they've been through a lot. They've been like through '08 when the market crashed, and then it recovered obviously. But now this COVID where they basically shut down like a lot of stuff, the economy tanked. but it's coming back up right now. But those people, like, they're like more concerned because it's like,
And they should, I think they should be, but I also would hope that, once you hit a certain age, getting closer to retirement, whether it's, mid to late 50s, probably even in your late 40s, you should start adjusting the way you invest your money, just based on risk. So investing in more like safe spots, or you know what I mean. Instead, I
yeah,
mean, yeah, I mean, however you choose to like invest your money and save your money, there are options that are less risky. Um, but no, I do think that those people that are older right now, yeah, they should be concerned. But I mean, I don't know. I talked to my parents, and like, I don't know if they even think about it as much. They're just, I'm kind of like them in terms of like, it's just gonna, shit always hits the fan. It's just when, and sometimes you get smacked by it, and sometimes you don't. But yeah, I think people just have to make sure that they're setting themselves up as they progress in age. So like you take your investment portfolio from high risk to low risk gradually, so that you don't put yourself in a situation to lose everything. Um, and there's ways to do that. But yeah, I
that's really. So like, for your views on the stock market, would you suggest people, let's say like people from 21 and older, to invest in the stock market as a method of investing? Will you?
yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's it's easy. Um, it's you can kind of, I like to think of it as a hand. I mean, okay, so when I think of investing, I'm not thinking about trading. So I
Oh,
just want to, I don't, when I talk about the stock market and investing in it, I'm not talking about day trading. I'm not talking about sitting on your computer watching things and buying and selling and doing all that. I'm talking about holding stocks for a
for a long
period of
time. Yeah,
time. Yeah, which is the way I do it, because I'm not going to be day trading. I'm just not my strong suit, so I don't tell other people to do it. But yeah, I think is, at any age, your parents can set, if you're a minor, your parents can definitely set you up with an account and just drop a few, buy a few stock for you and
yeah,
gradually do that. But it can be very hands off. It can be very stress free. I definitely think that as young as possible, you should start. There's nothing to lose there. So yes, I do think. Yeah, 21. Yeah, absolutely.
yeah. Or like investing long term, it's like it's not really, you don't need skills to invest long term. It just, just weigh it out. But like day trading and like, yeah, that takes some skill and like know what's going on in and out, patience. You have to be more alert. So that's a form of investing where it takes more effort to understand and do well, because you can make a lot and you can lose a lot. But long term,
Right,
you have plenty of time to eventually make profit and gains and less stress.
right. And that's the thing, is like, I tell people this too. Day trading is a job. It's a whole job. Like, it's a real job. It's not a. I mean, some people do it on the side, which is fine. But for me, and I tell a lot of people this, is like, think of it as an actual profession. It's a whole thing. People
Yeah,
hire other people to day trade for them. So if if you're a beginner and you think that you're just going to hop on and day trade like willy nilly, like when you have free time, you're going to be very disappointed, um, because it takes talent and skill and knowledge and time. It's not just 5 seconds on the computer. When you get a chance, it's all day. And then, so yeah, I think it's dope that some people are into day trading and things like that. But I also think there's a misconception that it's like I can just hop on and buy and sell things as I see fit. Because what nobody ever talks about is that capital gains tax. And so it's when if you don't hold a stock for a certain amount of time, you're obviously getting taxed on it. And it's way easier to just, I mean, if this is for, I'm saying this for people who just want to save money and just invest and like see their money grow and they have no interest in day trading. It's just very simple and you pay way less taxes the longer you leave your money in a stock. That's it. Like if you sell it and buy it and sell it and buy it, then you are paying a lot of taxes. But if you leave it, you pay way less taxes. That's how most rich people do it anyways. It's like they just bankrolling those dividends and like paying like I don't even know, 15% compared to like 40% if you're buying and selling a lot. So yeah, no.
See. And like lately, like man, people like they want to be like financial free, but like they don't have a plan. So like, what tips do you have for someone who is like thinking of wanting to become like financial free? Like, what tips and advice
I
would you give
think
them?
that's a really good question. I just had a conversation with a series of conversations with different people about financial freedom, and everybody defines financial freedom their own way, right?
Yeah,
I think it's important if you are a single person, if you have a child, if you have a partner, whatever the case, you sit down and figure out what financial freedom means to you, and whether that's writing it down, which I like to write everything down, it helps me. um, and if you have a partner, you sit down with your partner and you all come up with what financial freedom means to both of you. Just define it before you even write down your goals. Just define what freedom would feel like ideal situation for you. And then once you have that figured out, or you think you have a good definition on financial freedom, I think then you sit down and you come up with little goals. They can be weekly goals, they can be monthly goals. I'm a big, like, I'm an annual person. I used to do monthly, and then I switched to quarterly goals, and now I do just every year, whatever, because not much is changing. But I think, yeah, starting weekly or monthly. And you know what do you want to see? Where are you having problems? Are you, is your bank account always in the negative after you pay all your bills? Okay. Are you living outside of your paycheck, in terms of you make 60,000 a year, but you spend 100,000 a year?
yeah,
You know what I mean? So things like that, just simple things. You don't need to, go out and pay all these people to manage your money. I always tell people to define what their freedom looks like, and then make small goals, weekly, monthly, and just look at how much you're making and how much you're spending. That's simple. And then once you figure it out, like usually within a month or 2 months, people will see, you will start to notice, okay, I am spending way too much money on Postmates when I'm also buying groceries. Why am I spending? I'm buying groceries every month, but I'm also spending like $200 on Postmates every month. What am I doing? Okay, ding, ding, ding. Then that's a habit you fix. Um, I don't know. And I'd also tell people, get in the habit of looking at your accounts. I know a lot of people don't like checking their bank accounts because it makes them nervous. They're just numbers, so it's not. Don't I? It's interesting that people get so stressed out about it, but it's just numbers. They're not like real people, so they're just numbers. And so, I definitely have the people that I've coached. I put them on a monthly schedule, and we do an end of month account review, and we look at just their raw data. Like, all right, you started off with this, now you have this. If it don't look good, what happened? Why is that looking like that? And the thing is also is that once we do that at the end of the month, I have them jot down notes every month to say, okay, the reason this account looks like that is because my pet had an emergency at the vet, or I took a trip and I spent this or whatever, but I saved for it. So then I just pulled from my savings to replenish that. Whatever the case may be, I'd say getting in the habit of looking at your money and it helps you understand where your money is going. And then once you get good at it, that's why I say start weekly or monthly, but eventually you'll probably be more comfortable checking it every 4 months or once a year, or every 6 months, whatever the case may be, because you know that how your accounts are going to look because you've created spending habits accordingly. Um, yes, that was very long. I'm sorry. I went on a tangent. Sorry.
Because that leads me to the next topic about like save, like, because some people, some coaches tell people, if you want to get out of debt, like like live like you're poor, like, buy like, don't really buy like luxury stuff, just like live within your means, save your money, but then spend most of your money to pay off your bills. So what's your views versus saving and versus spending to pay your debts? Because like many people has like different debts. Let's say like student loans, but there's different ways to approach a student loans. You could pay the minimum or pay more than minimum, or you could try to generate more income on the side. Like, what's your views on like trying to like conquer like a big debt, whether it's like a car loan, your whole car loan,
Car
or
loan, student loan, a mortgage payment, a
yeah,
personal loan, whatever the case may be. I always tell people to pay more than the minimum, because when you only pay the minimum, you're doing yourself no favors. You you are paying a lot of interest. You are going to be in debt longer because the way loans are set up. There's the time, the duration, or the life of the loan.
yeah,
It's set up so that the banks basically get their money back twofold, or based on whatever the interest rate is. I'm not going to do the math here, but basically the banks make money off you paying interest. So the longer you're in this loan or in this debt with them, and the more interest you end up paying. So like I always, always, always tell people, don't pay the minimum. Pay, even if it's, and I had a finance teacher tell me this, even if it's $1 more than the minimum, pay that. Because as you pay down your principal, your interest payments get lower as well. So no, when it comes to paying off debt, pay more than the minimum. And also in terms of saving versus paying off debt, man, it's hard. It's really
yeah,
hard. And I think my common sense side of my brain is like, it doesn't really matter how much you have saved if you have a lot of debt, because one cancels out the other. So you could have, thousands saved, but you are in tens or hundreds of thousands in debt. You're you know what I mean? Like your bottom line is still negative because you don't. So I do, and this is hard. I do believe that the goal should be paying off your debt, not deferring it, not refinancing it, not doing all the things to avoid paying it off because it's just growing in interest. Don't do that. Um, just pay it off. And I guess it would depend on the person and whoever I was talking to with their, budget and how they live and things that they need. Yeah, if you can afford to pay more than the minimum on all of your debt and then also still save, 5% of your paycheck every month, I would say do that. I don't ever tell people not to save, but I do believe that if you're saving a bunch and not paying off your debt, that's it does you no good. It does you no good because your savings doesn't matter. Because how are you? Eventually, you're gonna have to pull some of that money to pay off that debt anyways. So it's like, but yeah, no, yeah. So that would be my answer. Pay off your debt with like more than minimum payments, and then if you can still afford to save 5 to 10% every month. If and that's a case by case basis. That's something it's hard to just fluff it like that, but that would be something I would tell my
yeah.
clients.
Yeah, about that. Like, I agree, and also think as well. Like, let's say if you are paying a little bit more than minimum and you saving a decent amount, but you have like a game plan which I said is always part of a game plan. Maybe you investing your save money into like a side project or a business opportunity that's going to generate income in the long run or short term, depending on what the business opportunity is, or your craft that's going to eventually increase your income. Therefore, you're going to have that income to be able to pay off your debts quicker than going the typical route you've been doing. So it's all
Well,
about,
yeah,
I guess, your game plan too.
I think, yeah. I mean, sure, you can bet on yourself, right? Absolutely.
Yeah,
Because that's, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I would just say be careful. Um, because some people assume that once they get paid more, then they'll pay off their debts. And that's not what happens. People get higher incomes and then their debt goes up because they spend. So I don't tell people like, "Oh yeah, just bank on that higher paycheck, bro. Like just bank on bringing in more money." Like no. Get the habits now. Like build that muscle memory now, because once you do get that higher paycheck, if you are already in the habit of spending and not paying off your debt, once you get paid more, you're going to continue to spend and not pay off your debt, but it's going to get higher and higher. That's why you see so many celebrities or so many just wealthy people going bankrupt. People are like, oh, he's a billionaire and then he's bankrupt. Can you imagine? People that get paid a lot of money, like they're not like free of debt. So I don't think it's always the best option to like bank on a higher paycheck. I don't think that that's a good option, just because if you don't have the good habits already, then you're not going to have them overnight. Um, but if you're saving for a business opportunity, that's what I mean. It's like case by case, right? So
yeah,
you're prepping yourself, and maybe you have a business loan. Maybe that's some of your debt. Um, or maybe you, like you said, you're saving, you're putting money away to have a startup or whatever. You need to sit down and actually hash out that plan, because I get it. Like you want to start a business and you want all these things to work out. Or even if you're having a kid and you're saving for your child and things like that, your debt is still there. Whether you're saving for a business or not, whether you start your business or not. Say you start your business and your first 5 years are shit. So what we just do, oh well, because I was saving for my business and starting my business, I decided to put my debt on hold. Well, that's not an option. So I I think people have to get it out of their minds that paying off their debt is optional. I think they need to see it as a mandatory thing. It's not optional. It's not something I can evade. I have to. Um, if not, then I leave it to someone else when I die, and that's no fun. So yeah, yeah, that's what I think that, yeah, that sums up my answer.
yeah,
Sorry
and
if I
that's
get too long-winded on these answers. I'm sorry, I can ramble. I'm a ramble.
that's cool. But there's people like let's say there's someone out here that been saving and paying like their minimal or a little more than minimal for years, and they didn't really like go out travel or anything because they're focusing on paying off their debts. And 15 years from now, they're closer on paying off their debts, but they didn't really like live. So, what's your
Yeah.
views on enjoying life and being responsible for paying your debts? Because some people like to enjoy their life, you feel me? Enjoy their youth, and some people risk their youth trying to pay off all their debts and realize they're closer, but they realize they didn't really get to like live, they're closer. So is it worth paying off your debt? I guess it's case by case basis, depending on your lifestyle and your decisions you make, your
I
goal
think,
plan.
yeah, and I think, and that's something that enough people don't talk about with teenagers, going into young adulthood, because you obviously do want to enjoy your life and you want to do things at a young age and like experience things. And even, I would even say this, even as you get older, like you still want to live fully, like you want to be in your 50s and 60s like doing your thing. So no, I don't want anyone's life to be revolved around paying off debt. But I do think people need to make sound decisions,
I
um,
agree.
based on their situation. Okay, you're going to go to college, and okay, you didn't apply for a scholarship, you didn't apply for any grants. Um, you have a lot of student loan debt now, right? I know Howard was like about 100,000 when I was there. Um, and then you get out and you want to live in a really big major city because everybody does. And
Yeah.
living in those big major cities is expensive, but you want to live there and you make 60,000 a year. Um, but you wanted to live in this really big city and you wanted to live that lifestyle. No, I'm so serious. I'm so
Yeah.
serious because we we don't think about the choices that we make and how it affects us long run. We just see, oh, but this is the shiny object and I want it. And then we get into a rut, we get into a situation where it's like, fuck, I have all this debt now. And I can't have as much fun as I thought I would get to have because I'm paying my regular bills and then I'm paying my debt and then I'm, you know, whatever the case may be. Um, so I think one, it starts when the person is younger and having those conversations with their parents or their friends or whoever, or watching, you know, videos where people are discussing like we are right now about options, right?
Yeah.
If you go to school for free, go to school for free. If what you want to do does not require a bachelor's degree, then go do what you want to do and don't get that student loan debt. Because let's be honest, our education system is a business. So, and I don't say
Yeah.
that in a negative light. It's just what it is. Um, you pay for your degrees and you pay a lot of money for your degrees, and your degree costs way more than what a job is going to pay you once you do have that degree. So that's just the
Yeah.
reality of America. Um, but once you do find yourself in that situation, and I have a lot of friends like this, it's hard. It is hard because then you're trying to balance whether you, enjoy your life now and pay your debts when you're older, or pay your debts now and enjoy your life later. I I don't know. I think there's just everyone has to find a balance. I think it's important to find that balance to say, okay, yes, I'm going to pay my minimums or more than my minimums on these debts or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm also going to enjoy my life, but within my means. And a lot of people don't know what within their means looks like because they're consumed with life on social media or with what they see on television or what they think their friends are doing. And oh, well, my friend does this and this. Yeah, but she or he can't even afford it. Like, they didn't buy that plane ticket to go to Cancun. Like, her mommy or daddy bought that. Like,
Yeah.
stop trying to keep up with other people, and live within your means, because I promise you, you can live a very happy life off of a $60,000 income. You know what I mean? But people think that they have to do all of this lavish stuff, um, to enjoy life to the fullest. I don't know. But yeah, if you're in a lot of debt and you're debating on whether you want to pay it now or enjoy your youth, like, again, sit down, figure out what your freedom looks like, and create a weekly, monthly set of goals. And don't start big. Just say, hey, okay, I want to take a trip in 6 months. I still have my debt, but I really want to take a trip in 6 months. So what do? You continue paying your debt the way you've been paying it. But say you cut back on going to the bar every Thursday, Friday.
Yeah.
Say you cut back on trips to the nail salon. Say you cut back on, you know, going bowling. I don't know. Whatever there's room in your budget to cut back on doing, you take that money, you save it for your trip, you're still paying off your debt on this side, and you go enjoy yourself. but there has to be discipline, and you have to know where you need to cut money from in terms of where you're spending. But also I'll say this, and I'll end the answer with this because I'm talking for way too long again. A lot of people are also, when I say living outside of their means, I mean they live, their housing is too expensive. So their bare minimum, they're like, okay, I don't really get to save and I don't really spend that much because my rent is crazy, my utilities are crazy, my parking is crazy. So they're already setting themselves up for failure because 90% of their paycheck is going to their rent anyways. So that's a major thing that I always tell people. It's like, look, your rent or your mortgage or whatever payment you're making every month to live where you live should be about 1/3 of what you take home in a month, period. It should not be over 50% of what you bring home. And so that's what I wanted to end that answer on. Yeah. If that all makes sense,
It does. It does. I agree. So
and I might be a little harsher about certain things because I just don't think that people take the time and effort that they put into other things in their life. They should put that same energy towards their own personal well-being. And I think finances are a part of your personal well-being, just like your diet and your exercise and your skincare. Like your money routine is like so important to your livelihood. And people don't focus on it until shit hits the fan and they're like, I want to have fun in my life, but I have debt. Well, you shouldn't have been spending so much. So
or like the credit score, because that's very important. Like if your score is bad, like you can't like do anything, can't get like a place on your own.
Yeah.
Like, the high interest rates, all that.
Yes.
So my last question will be about like assets versus liabilities. What type of assets and liabilities do you think people should be having in 2020, or just in general?
In general, yeah.
Yeah.
I was like 2020, just
Yeah,
another
just
shit.
the year's about to be over.
Yeah, no, I'd say assets. You should have stocks. Stocks for sure. If you are, 20, 22, 23, 24, like look at buying a house. Because having property as an asset is great. Because that's equity. You get homeowners equity as you're paying off that your mortgage loan or whatever. So yeah, stocks and property. That's really what I would say in terms of assets. And then aside from like your basic like cash like savings and stuff, like basic savings and your retirement fund, you should also have a retirement fund. That is an asset as well. Liabilities, so debts that most people have right now, loan payments, student loan debt, probably depending on if you have a house, a mortgage loan, car payment. And again, I think with car payments, people should try to pay their cars off in 3 years. There's no reason to have a car payment for like 5, 6, 7 years. Like that's absurd. Yeah. So yeah, car payment, but not for long. And then what other debts? I mean, yeah, that's really those things. Like, and maybe credit card debt if like that's your thing. I mean, I tell people like pay off your credit card every month. Do not carry a balance because this shit is just credit card interest rates are insane.
Yeah.
In the double digits. So do not carry over credit card balance every month because you're going to be paying, like 17% interest on that balance. And 17% is a lot. So, and I just made up that number. Your credit card could be like 20%, who knows? But yeah, so credit cards, student loans, mortgage payment if you have a home, car payment if you have a car, pay your car off in like 3 years. So don't carry a car payment forever either, because that's absurd. But yeah, those are like the basic things that I think most
Yeah.
people will have.
Yeah, for like liabilities, I think people should have like liabilities that are like cash flow producing liabilities. For example, like business opportunities. Like let's say you invested into like apartment building, paying like 20, get a loan for 20% to put down an apartment building, and that apartment building eventually will pay itself over time because it's cash
Yeah,
flow.
that's like the mortgage. Yeah, that's like having that's I mean that's literally a mortgage. So you any property you buy technically is a
Liability that can become a full like,
yeah,
asset if it's paid off. So yeah,
absolutely.
like yeah, stuff that potentially produce cash flow or equity and increasing value and stuff. I would
Yes,
suggest.
1000%. Yeah, I should have clarified that. So when I say mortgage, so like unlike student loan debt or car payment, like you're gonna
Yeah,
pay that stuff off, and then like the student loan doesn't matter. Car payment, cars depreciate, so really doesn't matter. Your car is losing value anyways, but you just want to pay off that loan. Now your a property that you own is going to increase in value. There's other types of assets that appreciate as well, like art and oh my goodness, and like vintage, like antique stuff. But yeah, so if you own a property and you know are buying a building for a business or whatever the case may be, yes, you have equity in that, and as you pay it, you gain more equity, and then once it's paid off, your net worth is comprised of how like that equity in that building or that home or that apartment complex or that
yeah,
business property that you own, and you're generating income off of it. So, like, say you own a business and you've paid off the facility or the warehouse, but your business is generating income out of there. So, yeah, you're not only you have the equity in the building itself, but you also have income flowing in from the business. Or if you own a house and you're renting it out, same with that. That's income from renters. Yeah, so all of those things. Yep.
I agree. But yeah, that's all the questions I have so far today. What would be like the best way for someone to contact you to learn more?
Um. So to contact me on financial coaching, I have a page on Instagram. It's called the dot Skyer. Skyer is just Latin. It means to know. And so on that
Okay.
page, all of my contact information, my email is on there, or you can DM me. But yeah, it's the dot Skyer, Scire. And yeah, you can hit me up. I love helping people, and I want to make finances less daunting for people. So yeah.
I see. Sounds good. But thanks for reaching out this morning for this interview. Appreciate your time.
Thank you. Oh, and shameless plug, support Black colleges. um, this is a brand out of Atlanta, my homeboy. It's actually two of my friends that went to Howard. They started this company. And like, if you don't
Okay.
know, now you know. So
Okay. Black
they make
colleges.
support Black colleges. Yep. So hella dope. Just wanted to plug that really quick.
It's all good. Cool. But yeah, that's it for today. I'll definitely reach out to you. But appreciate you for your time. Thanks.
All right. Thank you.